Okay, today we're going to do a little audio editing. I just recorded a track for a podcast and I'm going to put it together now. Just need to make sure my audio settings are correct so that we can hear the recordings as we do it for the recording process. Alright, so I opened up Adobe Audition. That's what I'm going to be editing in today. And I kind of prefer doing it this way. Going to my Dropbox where my podcast folder is. And here's episode 6. So here's the track that I recorded earlier. I'm just going to drag it in to here. And I also have my track for my music that I want to use. And drag that in as well. And now that I have both of these, and you can see here's my audio track.
Check, 1, 2. Testing 1.
Sounds just like me, and here's my music track. Perfect. So I need to create a new multi-track editing. So I'm going to hit multi-track, and it's going to prompt me to give it a name and location. It's already actually going to where I want it to in podcast episode 6. I'm just going to choose that. I'm going to give it a name, episode 6, back to school. So that's what we're talking about on this one. Says there was already one there. Overwrite yes. Sure. Okay, so there's a couple different ways I could edit my audio. I could start with the waveform and just take in chunks as I go, which is how I would do if I was doing like a really big story. But in this kind of thing, it's just one track. I'm actually just going to bring the track in as a whole and then zoom in using the plus key here. I'm going to zoom in. All right. And now I can start listening.
Check 1, 2. Testing 1.
So that's just my test there.
Office Hours with Professor Z. Episode 6, Back to School Edition. In this episode,
so maybe I want that before the music, so I'm going to split the track there, Command K, delete that, move that to the front. And then we're going to go to here.
In this episode, I'm going to be talking about
really want to try to minimize gaps in this, but I'm not going to close the gaps yet. I'm just going to leave them there.
I'm going to be talking about hard drive choices for students, software to think about when going back to school, and cameras. What cameras should students have?
I don't like how I record that, so I'm going to stop right there.
So first things first, I want to talk about hard drives. No, take that back. First things first, it is less than a week away before our semester starts here. First things first. First things first, it is less than a week away before our semester starts here at my university, and I'm really excited. I mean, I still got a lot of things to do to get ready for the students. I got computers to finish getting ready for them and things like that. But I'm really jazzed up about this semester. I'm enjoying and thinking about. Take that back. 3, 2, 1. I'm really excited about. I'm enjoying and thinking about. I'm really jazzed, but I'm like that. But I'm really jazzed up about this semester. I'm
kind of trailed off there, didn't I? It's the downside of doing things without a script and you're just kind of going off the cuff.
I'm really excited about this coming semester. Got a new syllabus I'm going to be using for one of my classes. I can't wait to see how that works out. I'm really excited to see 3, 2, 1. I'm really excited to see the kind of work. Excited to see about this coming semester. I'm really excited about this coming semester. Got a new syllabus I'm going to be using for one of my classes. I can't wait to see how that works out. I'm really excited to see 3, 2, 1. I'm really excited to see the kind of work that the students produce this coming semester. Yes, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see the kind of work that the students produce this coming semester. But speaking of students, there's things to think about when going back to school. Or there's things to think about when going back to school, or if it's your first time coming to college in general and you're going to be a communications major. At our school, we require all of our students to have hard drives, external hard drives for their information. We have an editing lab. We have an editing lab. Everyone can use the software in there and the computers, but you can't save stuff on there. And actually, just this year, I've implemented a new software that will erase anything you save on the desktop anyways, automatically when you restart the computer. So it's kind of a wake-up call for students that have been kind of getting away with it for a couple of years and saying, oh, well, it's still there when I come back. Not this time. You need to get that external hard drive. And speaking of hard drives, there's a bunch of simple choices out there to go make. Now, the first thing, you want to make sure it's USB 3 or faster. USB 2 is just not drives. I've had students in the past get a little thumb drive or memory drive, and try to edit off of that, and it just doesn't work, and they can't understand why. It's not fast enough. I know it says USB 3. That's great. That's the connection type. Doesn't mean that you can read and write photo editing. So make sure it's an actual hard. Editing. So make sure it's an actual hard drive. And the minimum size storage I would go for is 1 terabyte. And that's not that expensive these days. You can find a 1 terabyte drive on Amazon anywhere from 60 to 70 bucks on the low end, and you can be on the high end around $100 for a higher end drive. But really, why stop at 1 terabyte? Get a 2 terabyte drive, or better yet, get 2 1 terabyte drives. Have one as your main drive that you use and one as a backup, because there's nothing worse than losing all of your media. It's very important to have a backup drive. I myself in my personal professional work, my personal professional professional I myself in my professional world, I have a storage drive. I have a Drobo that has 5 internal drives in it. It's redundant. One of those drives can fail and my stuff is still good. I can still retrieve my information and put another new drive in there. And then I work off a different drive. I have a working drive that I do my edits off of. So really, the hard drives are not that expensive these days. It doesn't hurt to go out and buy a second hard drive just to back everything up to. I go out, do a shoot, come back to the office, come back to your desk, put that memory card in, put in your backup drive, copy everything to that drive first, and then from that, copy it to your working drive. And that way, in case your working drive crashes, you drop it while you're walking down the hallway or something, you still have your raw material. Because with digital world, we're not getting that back. It was one thing back a couple years back when we were still using tapes. You record a tape, you use it once, you take the stuff off the tape. Some reason that hard drive crashes, you could always go back to that tape. You can't do that anymore. We're not using tapes. It's all about hard drives now. So go and do yourself a favor. Get that extra hard drive. Of course, I talked about USB 3. There's also Thunderbolt or USB-C drives. It really depends on the computer you're going to use. You might have a drive that has multiple cables that comes with it, which is good because, the computers in our lab, for example, still have the standard USB port on it that are USB 3. Newer MacBook Pros are coming with USB-C. Some that are in between have the old Thunderbolt drives. These are all good interfaces, and don't worry if you don't have the one that exactly fits the computer you're going to use. You can always buy adapters or different cables that you can connect these. They're different interfaces, but they still have a fast throughput. And one more thing about drives, there's 2 kinds of drives when we're talking about it. You have the old school spinning platters. There's actually a physical disk inside those drives that spins. That's why when you feel when you plug it in, you feel the vibration. That's the disk spinning around. These are great. They hold a lot of stuff for not a lot of money, but they're also fragile. You don't want to be walking around with these things spinning. If you drop it while it's spinning, it's done. You're going to lose stuff. You're going to have to send it out, get recovery, and it's going to cost you $1,000 for someone to take the stuff off of it for you if it's that important to you. Versus you can get now solid-state external drives. Now, solid-state drives, As the name implies, there's nothing moving in it. It's solid. It's a flash memory system on the inside. However, it's going to be more expensive. For example, that 1 terabyte $60 drive I was talking about before, I recently bought a solid state last year. It was only 500 gigabytes for a little over $250. So you are spending a little bit more money on the security. And not only that, it's also a faster drive. So if you start talking about going beyond HD or going to 4K editing, you need that faster throughput speed between your machine and the drive you're editing off of. Some older drives, even though they're great for HD, might not be good enough for 4K or even doing multi-camera HD. So that solid state drive, depending on your workflow, might be necessary. If you're not sure, always ask somebody, think about what you're doing, and there is a great thing out there, the free tool. If you already have a hard drive and you're like, oh, what's it good for? Blackmagic has a free download that has a drive speed tester. So you can go to their website, you can download the drive speed tester, and they'll do a test on your hard drive to tell you what video formats it's good for editing. It's a really great tool. I use it all the time. I highly recommend everyone have it on their machine. All right, next topic, software. There's a lot of different kinds of software out there. There's software on the web these days. There's a lot of different kinds of software out there. There's software on the web these days, there's software on your computer, and there's editing software. So we got different tiers. First and foremost, find out when you go to school what software is already provided for you for free. Now here at our university, one of the things that we offer is the Office suite. Microsoft Office is free for all students. You have the online version, but you can also download it onto your computer as well. So that's being paid for through your tuition. Those are things you should know before you go out back to school shopping and buying your own.
Tighten this up a little bit here.
Tuition. Those are things you should know before.
Maybe I'll get rid of that breath.
Tuition. Those are things you should know before you go out back to school shopping and
tighten this up as well.
Shopping and buying your own copy. You don't want to go out and buy your own copy and find out, oh, I could have gotten a free copy and saved myself a couple $100 or whatever the cost is. And of course, now, like I said, it's in the cloud. You could also just use it online. With that subscription, also the Office 365 that we offer our students, they have a terabyte of storage on Microsoft servers along with their email and such. Of course, there's also other platforms that many people are familiar with, like the whole Google Drive suite of software where you have word processing, spreadsheets, PowerPoint, style slides, and storage, and email, of course, all through Google, which is a great tool as well. And I, for one, use both of them. It's not like I use one or the other. I use both interchangeably depending on what I'm doing. But when it comes to communications, students, the really big software to think about is your production software, your editing suite. Find out, first of all, when you're going to a new school, what programs they're going to be using. We here at our university are an Adobe school. We've committed a couple years ago. We're teaching the whole Adobe suite from Premiere to Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. It just works across our curriculum. So we are mostly Adobe. We still have machines that have Final Cut Pro on them if people want to use that, but we just have made the decision a couple years ago that the industry wasn't really adopting the new Final Cut Pro as much as Apple might like it, but they're really adopting Adobe, so we've gone that way. And also we can, if you learn Adobe, you can probably learn the others fairly simple as well. So we have that in our labs, but we don't give it to students. There are some universities out there that have recently, in the past couple of years, made it free for all students to have the Adobe Creative Cloud on their computers at no cost. Now, if your university doesn't do that like ours doesn't, you can still get a discount from Adobe themselves. So if you want to have it on your own computer, which honestly, I highly recommend. For us, a lot of our production classes don't make you buy textbooks. Our production classes don't make you buy textbooks. 3, 2, 1. For us, a lot of
you're gonna do this, take a couple months.
For us, a lot of our production classes do not make you buy textbooks. For us, our university does not make you buy textbooks.
Well, that's just wrong.
For a lot of our production class,
There you go.
make you buy textbooks. For a lot of our production classes, textbooks are not required. So you're not putting out the money. Honestly, I highly recommend. For us, I highly recommend. For a lot of our production classes, textbooks are not required. So you're not putting out the money. For us, a lot of our production I highly recommend. A lot of our production classes don't require textbooks, which means you're saving money there. So take that money you would have spent on a textbook and you can reinvest it into Adobe Creative Cloud. And Adobe does offer student discounts for that first year. So be sure when you go to Adobe, if you're going to sign up for it, go and make sure you check off that you're a student and follow the process for signing up as a student, and you'll get a very nice discount for that first year of subscription. And you're going to find once you have it on your own machine, you're not going to know what you did without it. It's nice to know that there's a couple classrooms on campus and editing labs that you could go to and do work. But it's also nice to know that you can stay in your apartment and work at 2 a.m. on your own machine without having to go anywhere. There's something nice about that, I think. My last topic. This is the number one topic students ask me about. What camera should I buy? Nice about that, I think. This is the number one topic. This is the number one topic students ask me about. What camera should I buy? What's the best camera? Is this one good? Is that one good? Whoa, slow down. First of all, if you're going to school, check out the situation for.
Let's tighten this up a little bit. It's a little loose here.
What's the best camera? Is this one good? Is that one good? Good. Is this one good? Is that one good? Whoa, slow down. First of all, if you're going to school, check out the situation for loaners. A lot of universities that have communication programs like ours allow students to take out loaner cameras on a 24-hour whatever basis, depending on the policies of the university, to do the projects. So if you're in a communications program, most likely you're going to be able to sign stuff out with no cost to you. You're already paying for that stuff in your lab fees. However, a lot of fees. Lab fees. However, a lot of that stuff is going to be shared amongst other students. It's seen better days because it gets used a lot, and they might not always be available because if everyone's trying to do their projects at the same time and you don't get there in time to sign out the camera, you might be out of luck for a little bit or struggling and making bargains with fellow students to try to get a camera. That being said, if that's the case, or if you just want to start investing in your own system, there's nothing wrong with buying your own camera. In fact, I encourage it. If this is the field you're going to go into, these are the small investments. It's like buying the hard drive, a card reader, an SD card. You should have a camera too. Now there is no one best camera. I'll never say this is the camera you should buy. there's a lot of cameras out there that are all great. And a lot of it depends on what you want to do with your career and what your budget is. If you want to be more journalistic and you're doing news stories and stand-ups and such like that, you want a camcorder that you can plug an XLR microphone or a lav microphone into. That way it's a really fast turnaround for processing. So something like a Canon XA11 or a Sony equivalent or a Panasonic equivalent, that might be where you want to go. Versus if you want to do more photography, you're looking at Canon or Nikon. Or if you want to be in the middle, you're looking at like Sony or Lumix and the mirrorless system. So there's a lot of variety in there. It's really depending on your price point and what your end product is going to be, and what your target audience is, and what your target audience is. You want to know what look you need and all these things. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. You could be going from like buying a C100 from Canon with professional XLR inputs and using interchangeable lenses, which is a really great system, but it's also quite heavy. And if you're doing a lot of traveling, it might not be the thing for you. Versus you can go with a Lumix GH5, which is a mirrorless 4/3 camera body, which is a lot smaller, uses smaller lenses, and is a lot lighter to carry, but it doesn't have professional XLR inputs without additional stuff to add on to it. So there's a lot of trade-offs depending on what your, like I said, price point, what your goal is, and things like that. And honestly, if you buy Canon or Sony or Lumix or Nikon, you probably aren't going to go wrong somewhere. They're all great brands. They all have great things to offer. It's really about your preferences and what you just like to use. I would say, if you're curious about it, go to the store and get your hands on it, or even just rent it. There's a lot of places like borrowlenses.com or lensrentals.com. I'm not getting endorsements from them. I just two that I know off the top of my head that you can go to and rent these things for like a week for not that much money and be able to experiment with them and see which ones you like, which ones you don't like, and then go and make an informed decision based off of that. So that's kind of my advice on that goes. But that.
I trail off after this, so we'll just get rid of that.
So it's less than a week before. Off of that. So it's less than a week before school starts. I'm very excited. I hope everyone listening is excited about the start of the new semester. I'm really looking forward, like I said, to seeing what my students and students within the department produce this year. We got a lot of opportunities. We did some great stuff over the summer even, and it's just going to be a really exciting year. So this is it for episode 6 of Office Hours with Professor Z. I hope to have a lot of episodes out this semester and this coming year. I really want to get this podcast up and running to full steam. Thanks for listening.
All right, let's oh, that's right. Man, I always forget. Premiere has a thing that's for closed gaps, but Audition doesn't, which is really annoying. Like, I don't know why they don't create a closed gaps feature in Audition. And if someone knows of closed gaps feature, that would be amazing. Because I would love to do that. Oh, no, I want this out here at the beginning. All this. And move to like here for now. Alright, let's bring the music in. Yeah, convert it, sure. And that. Let's see how this sounds.
Office Hours with Professor Z, Episode 6, Back to School Edition.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
be talking about hard drive choices for students, software to think about when going back to school, and cameras. First things first.
Let's maybe go a little longer.
In this episode, I'm going to be talking about hard drive choices for students, software to think about when going back to school, and cameras. First things first.
All right, let's put some music at the end. Just copy that. Get rid of that fade though, because we're gonna do this kind of fade now.
Running to full in this coming year. This is it for episode 6 of Office Hours with Professor Z. I hope to have a lot of episodes out this semester and this coming year. I really want to get this podcast up and running to full steam. Thanks for listening. Office Hour.
I'm gonna change out the end. That spring back in because we're going to use the end of the music. So let's see here. And sticking out over there. See how this sounds. Zoom, 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 zoom.
I really want to get this. Have a look. This is it.
There. A little longer.
This is it for episode 6 of Office Hours with Professor Z. I hope to have a lot of episodes out this semester and this coming year. I really want to get this podcast up and running to full steam. Thanks for listening. Office Hour.
I like it. That sounds good. All right. So save. Yes. Okay. And make sure. Okay. Oh, I didn't even check my edits.
First things first. I'm really
oh, there's a gap right here. See, that was almost gonna be bad. Didn't see that gap before. We don't want it to do it this way. Let's try this again. That worked better.
Everyone have it on their machine. All right, next topic.
Okay. Save that. Export multi-track mixdown. Choose your save location. I want to save it as an MP3 because I'm uploading it. And save. Okay, we can close this down. We're going to go back to the web here and go over here. Doesn't really fall under a category, does it? Learning, we'll do learning. So that's what we talk about. Cameras. Cameras. I said Sony. Oh, what do we do? Huh. That's weird. Oh, that's because my mouse is over. Okay. I was going to say, that'd be weird if I couldn't post things. Give a little description here. All right. And that's it. And then if I go back to iTunes, I wonder how long it takes. It's not there yet. I guess it'd be too much to ask if it was there right away, right? But I do want to see it post on here. I should subscribe to my own podcast. Is that weird? Subscribe. Subscribe. There we go. Hey, look at that. It's out already. It's already in iTunes. And show an iTunes store. Well, that's weird. It's not here in the store yet. It's only up to episode 5 here. But inside of my library, it shows episode 6, back to school. Oh, I meant to rename it. Oops. I want to rename it only because the 006 is really just for filing on my computer, so I have everything in order, but I like it to look normal online. So I forgot to do that. But there it is. It's posted. It's pretty awesome. And that's it. That's editing a simple podcast with music in and out and doing the chop ups and putting it up online and getting it to iTunes. Hope you enjoyed.